Welcome to the session. If you are a woman of substance, that means you are a conscious, heart-centered woman with a strong message, with a strong purpose, who wants to change the world, and yet you know that in this digital age, having a strong message and a big heart alone actually isn't enough anymore. You need to know how to use technology to help you bring your message to people to make the impact and the income that you're looking for, but you don't know how. If this is you, then this is the session for you. Digital online courses and businesses are estimated to be about more than $300 billion in 2025. So it's an incredible market to be a part of. And how you can secure a part of this without having to sacrifice your authenticity or your ethics, that's what this session is going to be about. My name is Cassandra De La Thea, and I am the co-creatress of the Phoenix Women Summit, and I am so delighted to introduce you to my amazing co-creatress of this Phoenix Women Summit, to a woman who is an absolute expert when it comes to digital marketing. She is a soulful digital marketing strategist. She is an incredible supporter of women who has helped countless women to bring their important message to a wider audience and make the income that they deserve. Let me welcome Victoria Walker, Lady Victoria Walker. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us today, Victoria.
Thank you so much, Cassandra, and it's so great to be here. I mean, this whole journey has been amazing, and I'm so excited to really share some of this wisdom and knowledge with the amazing women who have decided to, get on this journey and learn something new and develop themselves. So I'm really excited and so inspired, to be here and be a part of this, of creating this amazing summit.
And so you've come up with this concept of substance marketing, and tell me a little bit about that. Like, what does that mean?
Well, substance marketing is about marketing that actually has depth. It's deeper than just selling or marketing a product or an offer that is touching our surface needs. And I think there's a lot of that online where people are actually seeking deeper meaning to their lives, to their relationships, to their business. And so a lot of the superficial messaging, a lot of the hype messaging, a lot of the techniques that worked, say, 10, 15, or even 5 years ago, we're seeing a massive shift in the way people relate to leaders and to marketing messages. And so the substance marketing is about creating offers and products and digital products and marketing messages with an element of substance. It has an element of soul. It's deep. It's deeper than the just the normal, buy this product, you look beautiful. It's more about really tapping into the deeper layers of what really people need at a subconscious level. And the thing about it, most people aren't often aware of why they want something. Like, somebody buys a luxury car, and often it's the prestige of, owning luxury, which really is a need to feel important and a need to feel, validated in a way. So I think people now are starting to recognize that actually a lot of things that we think we need are quite meaningless, and they're looking for answers that are a bit more deeper. So substance marketing is actually taking those deeper messages and being able to translate it into marketing, into copy, into ad campaigns, into messages that people really resonate with at a soul level.
And because right now it feels like, we're in this age of information overload and kind of social media, celebrities, etc., etc. It feels like there's so much content that's just like on surface, and that it's that kind of shallow thing. It seems to be the age of that. But what I find really encouraging about your message is that actually that, cream rises to the top. Like, if you have a message that really has substance, that really has, it has legs, it really has impact, it has power, it has potency, that as long as you are you have the support of someone who knows how to market that, how to get people to know about it, that actually not only can you compete, but you can actually succeed with that. I think that's fantastic, really encouraging for a lot of the women who are watching this, I think.
Exactly, exactly. And that's where I see there's a big shift happening, especially, right now as we're filming, we are, going through a bit of a transition. And what we know and what we will see is that there are going to be people that are going to shift consciously. So they're going to be looking for answers and constantly seeking new ways of being, new ways of looking at ideas. And I know there's a lot of powerful women that have modalities and techniques and offerings and services that can really meet those people. But the challenge that some of these women have that do have, the substance offerings, and they're offering things that, heal and transform people's lives on such a deep level, is that unfortunately having this strategy to actually really magnetically literally pull these people out of the sea of noise of the crowd of the internet and get them to really see how they can help them, how their offering or service is different to what's already out there. Because that's another thing. I mean, substance right now has to also be unique, because of a lot of people following the same sort of trend, and people get bored. They don't want to see the same message all the time. They want to see something different. They want to see somebody with almost like a polarized message, and that really often attracts the right type of people. And everybody has their tribe. There's 2 billion people on Facebook at one time, active users. So everybody has their own kind of individual client, or what I call a soulmate client, who you're specifically assigned to meet. And substance marketing is the kind of piece between you and your soulmate client.
What do you feel that these women of substance, as I call them, the heart-centered conscious women that are watching the summit, what do you think they're struggling with when it comes to like marketing their business or their offerings and getting clients online?
So I think on an inner level, there's always the resistance of showing up. I find that's quite common. There's the resistance of, oh, I've got to be on social media all the time and I don't really like doing that. And there's also the sort of outer aspect where a lot of the techniques that people use don't always work. So some people say, oh, start a group, or post 3 times a day on social media, and have a 24 long legs email sequence. Now all those things do work, but at the core of it, it really is about how do you get in front of a lot of people with the most compelling message and the most compelling offer, that actually once you go out there, you can literally just attract like a magnet the exact person you're speaking to, the exact person who just at that moment needs you. So I think a lot of women do struggle with, one, the inner side of it, and also them being that leader and feeling grounded in their offer, feeling grounded in what they're delivering, and having the confidence to really magnetize people. It's I see it a lot. It's like the energy of the person really does determine how many people come into their world, into their internet space. It's their energy, it's their vibration, it's their vibe, it's how they show up, and how they are. So I think that's a really big piece. And I know we had Rachel Jane Brewer that's really strong on that message and how women can be more magnetic. I think that's such a core piece. I think there are some women who they haven't really figured that bit out. It's a really important piece. And then there's the sort of outer stuff where what you're pushing out. A lot of people push out content and put things on the internet, but is it actually translated into sales and business? And for a lot of people, it's not. And the reason why it's not is because, one, a lot of people just don't even ask for the business. Secondly, they don't really show people how they can help them. They don't really demonstrate through their social media content why another person should actually choose them. They don't share their successes. A lot of people are afraid to brag and say, well, I've done this and my clients have succeeded here. And one of the biggest sales tools for digital business is social proof? What have other people experienced? You know, what have other people gained from your work? And without sharing that in a powerful way, you're never going to really persuade or convince anybody. And it's not even about persuading. I think part of it is, I mean, there's always you're always kind of getting people to see you in a way that you'd like them to, but people really do struggle with actually conveying a compelling enough message to actually make someone think, I need that person. That is the person who I need. They understand me. What they do can get me the results. I trust that they can get the results for me, and I know they can help me. So a lot of online entrepreneurs really do struggle with that, especially on social media.
So there's the inner piece of the presence, the magnetic presence. So that's really the piece of like being a woman of substance, not just in terms of what you know, but also in how you embody and talk about what you know, that it's in a compelling way. And on the other hand, there's like, how do you actually message that digitally in terms of reaching the kind of the person that needs what you have, and that they understand what you have. For me, it's kind of interesting because it's like, you know, it's like I'm one of your clients, and you know, now we're business partners in creating this incredible summit together. But for me, there's another piece, which is there is like this generation of women like myself who've been doing like so much inner work, but we just are not so techy. Like, you know, for me, it's just like the whole idea, like everything I had to do. It's like, I think in like 8 years on Facebook, I think I did like 8 posts or something like this. So that's highly unusual, right? But there's the whole idea of like, oh, you schedule this and you do this and you do this and you do this. And I'm like, you have to learn like 50 million different systems. And it can be quite overwhelming, I'd say, you know, like for some of us who are like great with one-to-one work, who do one-on-one work with clients, who like that personal touch, to suddenly go into this medium, which is less personal, where we can't really look someone in the eye and touch them. So it's like, how do you help women like me in that way? And maybe there's some of those watching. How do you help us to kind of make that shift?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that I teach women is to stay in your zone of genius, because what a lot of women try and do when they go into this space is to do everything on their own. And, you know, or if they're not doing it on their own, they have to hire copywriters, they have to hire this person, hire this video. And it can be quite a lot, and it can be quite overwhelming. So, I mean, what women have to remember is that your job is to do your work. And there's somebody else whose genius is tech, like me. You know, I do all the techs and the systems and things like that. And I've always been into technology for a while. And so what I recognize is that people have to really stop feeling they have to do it on their own and receive support, because it's, whilst it does seem, you know, complicated, it doesn't have to be. And furthermore, you don't really need to master that. And I wouldn't suggest you do, because it's not your zone of genius. But the actual the actual ability, sorry, let me just turn this phone off. I thought I switched it off. The actual ability to get people and reach a mass amount of people. So the internet just exponentiates things. You could earn $300,000 in a month just through social media marketing properly. I've seen many clients do it, not my own clients, but I've seen many people in the industry do this. I mean, one guy I work with, he makes about $1 million a month from his consulting business just through Facebook. So, social media. So what it allows women to do is because one-on-one's great, but right now there's like millions of people, billions of people on the planet, and at least 2 billion Facebook. So if you really want to have the impact, there needs to be a level of scalability of that. And so what the internet does provide, and with the technologies, is you can do that. So a lot of clients that I work with, they do this sort of hourly rate, and you know, some of them package their offers at an hourly rate. Now, what if you could give a client that same level of result, but it could be programmed into a course that could be sold literally on autopilot? So it allows you to actually scale and reach more people. And this is the shift that I want women to kind of shift their mindset into this, because you can still do one-on-one. And what I find when clients kind of scale their product, so they have maybe like a course that they can offer, a digital course, and then maybe like they have a higher tier, which is a mastermind, their one-on-ones become much more, well, they do become higher ticket, because there's going to be so many people and you can serve. So then your prices still have to go up a little bit. I think some women, you know, do resist, because I think everybody wants to serve everybody, as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And this is why I believe in order to do that, but also serve yourself, is to create, you know, digital products that can allow you to serve 100,000 people at one time. You know, something that you might not be able to do, you know, in your lifetime as a one-on-one, but your message and your service and your gift is still being shared. And this is why I think it's so important that women who really do have something that can transform people's lives, that get results, that the world needs, that lifts the consciousness of humanity, do need to be there, because right now the world needs it. They need it so much. And it's not that difficult to do if you have the right team and the right people around you to hold your hand and to support you, and who also can get you the results.
Like, what I love so much about you is that you clearly are so passionate about helping like women, like heart-centered, conscious women entrepreneurs with a strong message, to like reach an audience, to make an impact, and to get the income they deserve so that they can sustain that and they can thrive. There's no self-sacrifice there. But like, when I hear someone who's so passionate about something, it's like, I'm really curious to see like, why these women, like why are you so passionate about this? Like how come this is what you've decided, this is your jam, this is what you're meant to be doing?
Because I met a lot of heart-centered women on my journey who transformed my life, and I just wanted the world to experience what I experienced, because I grew up in a very, very, very difficult. I was a trauma survivor. I went through some really painful things in life that really impacted me for many, many, many years. And it was heart-centered women, healers and therapists, and these women that really took time to understand me and to give me the space to feel okay of how we're feeling, and to give me that environment to not grow. And the transformation that it had on me, and the impact that these women that I've met throughout my life, to help me grow into the woman that I am today. It's like, I want everyone to experience it, because I know so many people in the world are suffering emotionally, they're suffering spiritually, they're suffering, you know, mentally, physically, you know, and I know there's a lot of people that can help. I've met them. I've met a lot of them. And what I see with these women is that often they don't really get what they deserve, in the sense of, you know, you've got all this hype and all these big, you know, motivational coaches and stuff making hundreds of millions of dollars. And I have nothing against that. But what about, you know, the women? They can do this too. They can be, you know, as big as Tony Robbins and all these other guys, which I love Tony Robbins and what he does. But I feel like there's a lot of women who have even a bigger and better message to uplift humanity and to help people actualize to who they could be, and live to their possibility and potential. So for me, because of my own experience of going from being a really broken young woman and being lost and almost at times not even wanting to exist, and then finding a support system and women who empowered me and uplifted me and made me see my greatness and made me see what was possible for my life and held my hand and gave me the love and support. I just want everybody to at least have the opportunity to experience that. And so this is why it's so important for me to really showcase these women and help them really get their message out there so they can help other people.
That's so beautiful. I mean, you know what, like, but it really shines through. Like, as I'm listening to you, it's like, I really feel it. Like, I really feel this is like so where you're coming from. And it comes from this place of really like wanting the world to be a better place. And I think that unites all of us, like conscious, heart-centered women, which all of us here are together, is like, we want to make the world a better place. And often it's like, when we do that, for most of us, we're taught to do this through self-sacrifice, which means a lot of these women who are like making the world a better place are poor. you know, or struggling to kind of get the clients they need, or are charging not enough, and they're having to deal with the material challenges of sometimes even survival issues, and whilst they're like doing so much for the world, and it just doesn't seem right. So
I
I
think, yeah.
totally
And they
totally
don't
hear
need to. Sorry, because it's like, as you said that, and they don't need to.
you.
They really don't need to. It's the undervaluing, the overgiving, and, you know, self-sacrifice. It doesn't need to. And it's a simple, just literally a simple switch or shift that can take you from a struggling healer or coach or therapist to, you know, a six-figure earner relatively quickly, because the technology, it speeds everything up. Like, it just exponentiates everything. I mean, you've seen what we've been able to do with a little bit of tech, you know, with a little bit of tech that we've done with the summit. And, you know, that's just, I mean, we reached in 3 days, 110,000 people, you know, in a really short space of time. And yeah, that's like, women need to, who maybe have this, because I find a lot of women have this fear of tech. It's all like, oh, I don't like it, I don't like social media. And it's fine, you don't have to, but you definitely need to leverage it if you want to serve more, serve more, create more time, and have more impact. And that's really what I'm about as a soulful business strategist, is to help women create those strategies and systems which you don't even necessarily have to have your hands on. You just need to do what you're good at. You know, we'll handle the rest. You know, we'll support you. We'll make sure it's right. We'll make sure that the people that need you, see you, find you, and we'll have a good system so that, you know, you can deliver the service and the offers. And also even creating offers. I mean, some women really, I remember my first client, she was my first client. And I told her she's going to charge $3,000 per client. And she was like, I can't do that. Like, who's going to pay that kind of money? No one's going to pay. And I said, yes, they will. And I said, I need you to believe in yourself, that you are worthy of somebody paying you $3,000 for a program. And she was like, no, we should do it at $500. And it was a backwards and forwards, but in the end, she trusted my judgment. And on her first launch, she sold 4 spots at $3,000. So she made $12,000, which is about £10,000. And her mindset, she was kind of blown away. She's like, oh my God, like, you know, and I love that. I love those moments when women actually get the results, they make the income, because it's a divine exchange. Somebody saw her, she didn't see her own value in what she had. I did. I knew that what the problem she solved, there were many women that needed that. And it was just about building up her belief in her value and what the transformation she creates in people's lives, and then showing her, like, we have a system and this is how we're going to do it. And it worked.
Because the truth is that even as healer types, you know, as conscious women, everybody needs help sometimes. Like, you know, we can't be great at absolutely everything, no matter how brilliant you are. You know, you're not going to be like a star athlete and a tech wizard and a mystic and you know, like, it's we specialize. You know, the reason why we are healer types is because often we've specialized and we've prioritized inner work, and the gifts we've gotten from that is how we can help other people. And it's like, it's a bit like in a video game, like, you know what, like, you choose your path, and, you know, like, if you're choosing to be a mage or a wizard, then you generally have a lot of like intelligence and wisdom, but you don't have so much strength and dexterity. And it's a bit, that's okay. Like, you don't have to be great at everything. And I'm saying this to myself as well, because I'm one of those solopreneurs who's like, oh yeah, I can do it all myself, and I did my own website and do it by this. But, you know, like, for as long as I did this, it meant that I kept my business small, you know, comparably small. And you know what, that's like, is it really worth it not to ask for help, to kind of stay in that place?
Well, I think the cost of it is that you don't get to serve and reach as many people as who need you, and then you don't get to make the income that you need. And what I really believe is that more conscious women create the income, because we're conscious women. We're not going to spend it all on ourselves. We're going to do great things in the world. We're going to build schools. We're going to do philanthropy. We're going to, you know, save the world in our way. We're going to, you know, I think once our rent's paid and a few mortgages paid, and then we've got a few nice shoes and, you know, some nice restaurants, I think the rest is just excess. you know. But I really believe in women coming into conscious wealth. I mean, I came from a financial background in finance. I worked in wealth management, and so I was around a lot of very wealthy people, and you know, a lot of it was male, even though there has been a big shift. Apparently 50% of the world's wealth is owned by women, and that's increasing, which is really, really good. But it's about, we still need more women, especially the healer types, to come into the abundance so that they're not in the survival mode, and that they can actually really serve from a place of they're full, you know, they're serving from a place of abundance. They're serving from a place of fully being nourished, you know. They're getting their massages every week. They live in their dream house. They have the, you know, all the dreams that they have for themselves. They deserve to have them too. And you know, they need the income to do that, and it's so possible with the technology we have really quickly as well.
And so what are like some of the steps that these kind of conscious, soulful women need to take to maybe take it from their more one-to-one kind of based business to something which is more, you know, which reaches more people, which takes them from a place of struggle to a place of thriving? Like, are there certain steps that they need to go through, or certain ingredients to that?
Well, there's a strategy. There's a good strategy. I'll review one of the winning formulas that I have seen work really well, which I feel does too. So it allows you to give. And so the people who you really want to reach, you can give. And then on the back end, you can serve with a divine exchange, as I call it. So online workshops or online, like, courses. When I say online courses, this could be like a video course or an email course to really position your expertise. I do webinars. So one of my major strategies that I use with my clients is we do like an online workshop for people, so we drive traffic, you know, we advertise, we get people onto the webinar. And what that webinar allows people to do is, especially if they don't know you, because I think audience building takes some time, and social media is so important in the nurturing of people who don't know you. People have to know, like, and trust you before they buy often. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time to build that knowingness and likingness. So the first piece of that, and also showing people your expertise, having a powerful value-packed presentation that really shows people how to go from where they are to where they want to be, depending on whatever that is, because that's what people buy. They buy the transformation. So women need to really kind of get into this space of delivering value and doing presentations online, but then also having a system that, okay, once I've delivered this and you see the value, for those of you who would love to do some more in-depth or deeper work, I have this opportunity and this offer. And, you know, if you'd like to work together, and there's more to it. There's elements to it, but this is a simple online strategy that probably most people have adopted and used. But there's parts of it where the substance bit comes in, and that could be, you know, are you tapping into the right audience, and is your message to that audience actually compelling and speaking to their soul? You know, you can speak to someone's soul through copy, and that's so important. Then the webinar as well. Because one thing I would say that really works, and what a lot of people get wrong, is often people feel that they need to give their best value, and I agree you do, but people also tend to want to really know how to solve that problem, or want to really understand the problem that they have, because some people aren't even really clear the depth of the problem and the implications of keeping that problem. So I guide my clients to actually do less, not say less value, we give value, but we really need people to understand that by staying in the place that they are, the implications of maybe being there, and also the possibility and potential of the transformation and what that looks like. And I feel it's really important online to do this, because people really they're only thinking about themselves. And so a lot of people that do this strategy kind of get this a little bit wrong, because they think, okay, I'm going to give my best value, and then at the end of it, they don't make any sales, because they've taken the value and they've got what they needed, and there's nothing, they don't need to do anything else. Whereas when we're focusing more on the issue, the pain point, the implication, and then giving some value around, okay, this is what we could do, and this is what your life could be like if we did this, then you've
Mhm.
got a better chance of converting people into actually people who are going to invest into themselves and
Mhm.
into you. And I really am a big believer that your best clients are the ones that are willing to invest into themselves because they're invested. And I
Mhm.
really believe in charging high value and a lot, because people, once they're invested, and then you're going to get the results for them. You know, they're
Mhm.
going to spend more time applying what they've learned because they've sacrificed, they've made an investment at a
Mhm.
high level, and so they're going to do the work, and it's really important.
Mm. It's actually interesting, like those statistics that the people who spend the most actually have the best results. You know, like even if, because it's generally like when you spend this amount of money, it means that you're really committed. You're committing yourself to this. You're putting your resources into this, and then normally, like you don't want to go that to go to waste. You apply yourself more, and actually, therefore, the higher buy-in, you know, virtually guarantees you a better result. So it's like not only by charging a higher price do you, you know, benefit yourself as a practitioner, but you also benefit the client, which is kind of
Exactly.
win-win, isn't it? So
Exactly. And that's, I think that's the biggest piece when it comes to the more income, is that the internet has a lot of people, and that everybody's, you know, pockets are different. I mean,
mm,
Gucci never, you know, they're always selling bags and shoes, and people are always buying. There is a market. And again, everybody's market's different, but this is why I say price your products according to, you know, who you want to serve, and never underestimate what people have. Because I think if somebody's struggling or maybe hasn't had that level of abundance, they think everybody else is like that.
mhm,
They think everybody else can't afford 5 grand for
mhm,
a program. Or I mean, one of the girls in one of the masterminds, she sold 150 grand branding package paid in full just from running her ads and doing the same strategy.
mhm,
So there is
mhm,
so much abundance. There is abundance, and we can access that abundance literally through a click of a button.
mhm,
And it's so important right now that women who have a message, who have an offering, who are here to heal and help and love doing that, that they really, really leverage this power that's right at the tip of your fingers, and release the fear and, you know, the ickiness around the technology, and also the ickiness around selling. Because I think
mhm,
that's the other piece. Marketing's great. We can get you in front of people, but if you don't know how to have that conversation
mhm,
to move a person into the transaction, I mean, I work with this therapist, and she just hates talking about money, hates it with a passion, just cannot, doesn't want to deal with it. And, you know, and I get that a lot from the healer types. It's like,
mhm,
they know they need it, and they but it's just when it comes to that exchange, there's just this resistance and this ickiness, and this, you know, when it comes to selling, even, or even just feeling like it's a bit
mhm,
salesy, it just makes them feel icky. But, you know, I believe you can sell in a soulful way, and
mhm,
I believe that it takes you to really drop into your own heart of your own worthiness,
mhm,
and being grounded in your own value. And this is why I always say being grounded in your value is so important, because it almost doesn't become selling. It's almost like you want to make that transaction because, you know, like you said, you're helping, you know, you're helping that client. By them investing, they're invested, they're going to get the result. And so it's
mhm,
having that mindset shift around what selling is, and what it means, and that it doesn't have to be icky, but it can be quite a good divine exchange that, you know, enriches both you and the
mhm,
client, and you know, everybody walks away with their
mhm.
value. So yeah.
And so like have you always been like the super digital marketing whiz, or like how did you get started in this?
Yes, I've always been interested in tech. I did business management and IT, and I worked in, even when I was in banking, I was in fintech. So I
Mhm,
worked with a lot of the new fintech startup companies. I would handle their marketing. I
mhm,
worked for a number of crowdfunding. So I was always into technology, future tech, and a lot of the businesses that we would be finding, like, so I used to work for some VC firms. It'd be tech companies. So I have a really big understanding about technology, and a passion. And then what it was is, in 2017, I got really, well, a lot of things happened, and I was working I used to contract and go into different businesses, and I was
mhm,
working really good contract. It was amazing money, you know, right in the center of Canary Wharf, had my own office. It was great. But then it all kind of came crashing down. The client wanted to relocate to Dubai. I didn't want to go, and I basically lost that contract, and I was back to square one. And I just kind of felt like, do you know what? This whole, I love I'm good at what I do, and I like what I do, but it just felt like it wasn't me anymore. And also, I was spending a lot of time working in the city, and I was a single mom, and I just felt like I was missing out on my child's life. Like she was a teenager, and she was getting to a point where she needed my presence. I was leaving at 6 in the morning, coming back at 9. I wouldn't see her most of the week, and I used to feel really guilty. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm gonna figure something out. And I really wanted to work from home, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know what. Then a client called me, and he was like, I want Bitcoin. And I was like, what the heck is Bitcoin? Like, I didn't really understand it. So I'm a nerd, so I'm like, I need to figure this out. So I started reading about this Bitcoin, and I became completely obsessed. Because it's a new technology. I just thought it was actually a new technology run off the blockchain, and it was a digital currency. And I just thought it was going to change, and I still believe blockchain, and it will change the world. And so I became obsessed. I think I'm one of these people that any technology that I think is going to like make impact or make things better, I'm just like, I love it. Let's just get it out there. So I just started going on social. So prior to this, I used to be on, like, everybody, you're on Facebook and you say hi to your friends and you got your friends there. But so I just started going on Facebook and just doing Facebook lives, and just talking about this Bitcoin thing. And you do it consistently, because I wasn't doing anything at home. So I was just doing that, like just talking about it, never really thinking it would go anywhere. It was just something I was interested in, and I wanted to share it with people. So after doing 1 or 2 videos, I got approached by radio stations, like, we've seen one of your videos about Bitcoin, and we really would love to host you on this show and for you to come in and talk about it. So I was like, sure, okay, no problem. So I went on the show, and then after that, all these people contacted me through Twitter. And then I was booked to speak at this really big conference. It had like thousands of people there, and they asked me to be their like Bitcoin person. So I'm like, sure, why not? And a lot of people kept asking me about, and so I was like, everyone kept asking me questions. So I'm like, do you know what? Let me just write an ebook. So I actually wrote a book on digital, like the Bitcoins, it was called the BitMogul Guide. And I wrote this ebook, and I remember, it's so weird, because I remember I put it out to my Facebook audience, and I think one person bought it, and I was a bit surprised. I'm thinking, well, you guys have been all asking me, and I spent so much time, and I built the book, and I built the funnel. And interestingly enough, my business partner, he spotted me on Facebook. He's like, do you know what? You could actually make this into something. And I'm like, well, how? And he's like, I'll show you some systems. So he was actually the person that showed me like where to host my ebook. Was ClickFunnels at the time. So I did this ebook, and then I went onto this program. I did this event, and prior to the event, I was asked to do this interview. Now this host he has about maybe 300,000 YouTube followers. And so I went on to his show, like this was pre the event, and basically I was just talking about the Bitcoin. And then because I had my book up, I was like, yeah, and I've also got this book that I've just put out, and it's the BitMogul Guide. So I just gave my link, didn't think anything of it, because I don't know this internet world. I didn't know it like that. Obviously I know the internet you can make, but not this space. Then I got back, I just started, my phone was just blowing up. That's all these pings. So I'm looking, and it's like all these sales are coming through, and I'm thinking, what the heck? So all this money's coming to, like, people are buying this book. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then so it kind of just blew up from there. And then my business partner was like, okay, you're going to do an offer. Like, you're going to actually, the list that you've got, you're going to tell people you're going to run a program, and you're going to sell it at this point, and you're going to send an email. And at first, I'm like, really though, is anybody really going to buy a course on how to buy Bitcoin? And he's like, yeah, trust me. I was like my client when I was like, no one's going to buy it. No, they pay that. So I took his advice, and I did it, and we sold out. And after 7 months, I made 97 grand. Well, yeah, it's funny because I was like, I want to make 6 figures, and I just made short of it by 3 grand. But yeah, in 7 months, I made a lot of money, and my life changed since then. And yeah.
And you discovered firsthand like the power of digital marketing and the power of how to attract visibility. I think that's always the most powerful, like when you teach something that you've experienced and it's like
Yeah.
your life and you were surprised by it and you then figured it out and you were like, wow, I mean, this has changed my, what did this allow you? Like when you made those 6 figures in 7 months, like what did that give you?
Oh my gosh, like I was just living my like I was just living my life. But I think it's funny is because it was like it's interesting when you have more money, it doesn't, it changes. Like I could go and have a massage, used to go and have a massage twice a week. I could go to my favorite restaurant. I could buy clothes. I could, book holiday. I actually went to Africa and lived in Africa for a whole year. It was like my lifelong dream. I just wanted to live in Africa and travel. So I was able to do that, which was, again, very transformational. I think that trip actually made me go into what I'm doing now because of what I saw, what women were going through. And it just really made me really realize that the struggle and pains of women is universal. And, I just wanted to serve women. But yeah, I mean, it changed my lifestyle. But I think also, they say like the more money you have, the more opportunities you have to lose it. And so if you are, having a money mindset has to be, and when you make a lot of money, especially when you were, because I wasn't broke, but I was out of work for it was a good 5-6 months, and I wasn't, I wasn't buoyant, and I was struggling around that time, really struggling, to be honest. And so it was just and I didn't know how I was going to actually, like, what I was going to do. So it was such a big breakthrough. But I did spend a lot of it on, like, I just did some crazy stuff. I was in crypto and I was putting money here. So my point is that, there is going to be a moment and shift when somebody goes into this realm and they will make a lot of money relatively quickly. And it can take you aback a little bit, and you might go a bit, crazy on shopping and whatever. But I really feel like wealth building is really about having an understanding of why you want that money and what is it for, and how you want to, what you want to invest into.
And it's very important. So what you're saying, I guess, is it's important to do the outer work, which is like, how do you market, etc. But also, whilst you're doing that, do the inner work, so that when that, first of all, that you can let it in, that you can allow yourself to receive it, and that you can allow yourself to hold on to it. Yes. Because it's like, that's why, like, there's some studies about lottery winners that, like, the vast majority of lottery winners, like, after 10 years, they're like worse off than they were before they won the lottery, because they've never really learned how to be with money and how to, like, allow themselves to kind of be wealthy. And so it's interesting, like, this kind of combination of doing the inner work and the outer work together, hand in hand. That's what really is the secret to, like, the long-standing success. Would you say that's right?
100%. You can't have one without the other. And I think there's some people that, it's so funny, there's some people that actually have the inner stuff sorted, they don't have the outer. And then there's some people that have the outer, they don't have the inner, and you need to have the both. And then also knowing that if you are going into this because business is about serving and, making money and stuff. And, if you don't have that inner abundance, belief of your value that you actually deserve this, if you don't have that, you may not maintain or keep what you have. And one of the things that I want to be is conscious wealth in women is about not having money for money's sake and for whatever, but it's really about looking at where and who you can invest into and exponentiate what you're doing, and bring more people in, and bring other people into wholeness, and help other people in different places. There's so many women that I know now that have made a lot of money online, and they're doing some really great stuff in, building hostels and building, they're living out their other bigger dreams that, if people said, if you had $1 million, what would you do? Those kind of visions. And so it's so important to also get clear into that vision, that bigger vision that you have, whether you want to build a wellness center, whether you want to build a retreat, and always have that there, so that when you are making this money, like exactly what it's for and what, so you can hold on to it, and grow your inner vision. There's one in you, a great one.
And what I love is that you talk very much about, it's a formula. Like it's like, it's very interesting. It's very rare to meet someone who's as heart-centered as you are and as conscious as you are, who's so into tech and data as well. And who says, like, oh yeah, it's like, I like tracking the data because, like, with the data, we can really predict exactly what happens and how to optimize this. And so it becomes this predictable formula where you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then this is your outcome. Tell us a little bit more about that kind of formula. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I say like the digital strategies that I use are literally like baking a cake. You put eggs, butter, milk, and you put it in the whip it up and put it in the oven. You are going to get a cake. And this formula that I use is it's the same thing. If you have a strong offer, you have a strong message and a good ad creation and good content, and you have the right targeting, you will make sales, like guaranteed. Almost, I can almost guarantee it because it's so predictable. And the thing is, if you look at life, like a lot of us are predictable. Human nature is predictable to some degree. So, and you're working with human nature and then technology to create that predictable outcome. So it's like it's so interesting to like watch. I mean, you know, I did a campaign recently, as you probably know, and there was two. Like, it was interesting. My ads guy, we was like, right, we have speakers, 2 known ones, 2 not so known, and he picked the ad content and the videos, and I was like, well, why are you using the unknown ones? Why are you ramping up? But he was like, their message and their energy in the video is actually getting the clicks, even though these other people are well known and they're huge. Whatever they're saying is not translating into the actual clicks and into, so that's why I realized that part of the formula, because people do this formula but they don't get the result. I mean, most people using this formula, but there's just that element which is the substance piece. It's the and that's where I believe it's the groundedness of your knowing your value, having your magnetism, being sort of confident in your body and in your beauty, even no matter what you look like, just still having that je ne sais quoi. And when people see that and read it as well, and translating that into copy, using the words and the language, and really knowing, people really seeing that you know and understand them, and meeting them at the point where they think, oh my God, this person really understands me. It's like those, adding that sort of substance to the traditional digital marketing strategy just exponentiates growth. I mean, we went from somebody that, in this model, somebody that we was running ads were like getting 8, they got 8 clicks, the well-known one, whereas the unknown lady who had the magnetism and the, you know, just had something that kind of moved you, she got up like 2,007 in a similar period. So it just shows that human beings, we, on a deeper level, there is, we don't know what it is, but there's just something, there's just that and that's what I really like to bring out in the marketing, so that the results are not just average, but they're actually above average, because you're just sprinkling a little bit of soul onto it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again like cream rises to the top. It's like, if you just know how, like, you know, ultimately, you know, the problem that a lot of the kind of the real quality conscious heart-centered women have is that they just don't understand the tech to reach the audiences that could benefit from them. And that often, you know, some of the people who are really savvy with tech, you know, maybe like they've specialized in that, they haven't done so much of the inner work. So whilst they can make a difference, it's actually, if you have a really high quality message and you know that you can help someone change their lives, and all you need is the tech knowledge, then, you know, find someone who adds that to you so that you can reach the people you need to reach, and that your quality can actually be received by people. That's my invitation to the people who are kind of watching this. It's like, you know, it's like their substance is super important. You just need to amplify this with technology in order to kind of reach the audience that's like longing to hear from you.
Exactly that. And that's all it is. I mean, I really believe in synchronicity and divine timing, and that's why the technology kind of works on that element as well, because somebody could just be literally having a problem and then be scrolling on social media and your ad just pops up and they're like, oh my God, like and that's what I call your soulmate client, because it's like they become your client, because it was almost like you showed up and you were speaking to them, and it was just such a coincidence that what they were going through, you just met them at that level, and they saw you, and they're just like, this is almost like a sign from God that I need to, you know. And I see that happens a lot. You know, clients are just like, everything you said and everything in that message that I read, or the copy, you just spoke to my soul, and I knew that you were the person that I needed to work with. And so once women really understand how to get over the technology side, and just even in really simple ways, they can then start experiencing this almost magical ability to really attract a high number of high quality clients that need them, value them, and will adore the work and results that they get.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I mean, this has been just like so so incredible. Like, you've been sharing so many different tips and secrets, and such an uplifting message that it's, you know, it's possible for any woman who's done the inner work to actually translate this into financial success. And I just want to thank you for all the work that you're doing, for all of those sisters out there who have this strong vision, who have this strong message, who want to help people, and you just connect them with the right tech, and you amplify them so that they can also thrive whilst they're helping other people thrive. So like someone like me, really, like, thank you so much. I'm very glad you've come into my life for that reason. And I'd like to thank our audience. Like, I hope you found this really valuable to know that actually this digital world is not something that's so unpredictable. There is actually a recipe for success. It's quite simple, and it's like quality with the right level of channels around it is kind of possible for you to get the results of the life that you're looking for. And this is the part of the Phoenix Women Summit, and we're bringing together, you know, more than 25 experts from all different aspects of life to equip you with all the knowledge, the tools, and all the support you need to turn this crisis into a catapult to up level every aspect of your life. And if you've enjoyed this session that is, you know, helped you to up level your business and your vision and your finances, check out some of our other sessions from our other speakers and allow them to support you in uplifting your health, your immunity, your mindset, your relationships. So that's my invitation to you, and thank you for tuning in. And I'd like to thank you again, Victoria. Thank you so much for everything that you do for all of us beautiful sisters out there. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of this gorgeous summit.